If you could ask the universe one question, what would you ask it?
Is there such thing as objective truth in all brains?
I guess answering this time.
We were kind of cheeky and we're going to ask, what is the one question we should ask you?
This is what kind of working on the startup.
Yeah, Ryan, easier to bring her on that role.
Yeah, give me some advice for how can I improve, Joe.
First thing, man, you gotta figure out how to keep him from passing your guard so easily. That's every time.
I have a bit of a quirk in that I have an idea that I came up with when I was doing computational physics at Edinburgh. And the idea is that the fundamental update rule that we see in physics, what's called the fundamental theory of everything, is caused by the constructor. If that idea is correct, it will be the most significant thing to happen to physics in the last 100 years. I worked with the director of the Higgs Center, named Turk.
So just as an example, I had an undergraduate with me who came to me 6 months ago, and he's been reading there's the Higgs, the laws of particle physics, and that's it, no evidence for anything else. And then on large scales, utterly simple too. And in between, there's this horrible, complicated mess. And if we think in a bigger picture, where are we going? Where is AI going to go? And anyway, so he's an undergrad, and and I am telling him, and encouraging him to approach these impossibly difficult questions. I'm honest with him. Chances of actually making progress are tiny.
Okay, so then I think I've actually made quite a bit of progress. So here's the logical inference that I'm proposing. Axiom 1 from computational physics. Our reality has a fundamental update rule called the theory of everything that's consistently applied. Axiom 2, constructor theory. Any transformation that's reliably caused in reality, there must be a constructor that enacts that transformation. Therefore, the logical inference is that fundamental constructors exist. Some object exists in fundamental reality that enacts the update we describe as the theory of everything. It's a very small step in logic, but it is a giant leap in perspective. I've theorized about it and called it the thing.
That doesn't happen unless there's an error-correcting code present. So it's as if the universe says you don't really transmit information unless there's something about an error-correcting code. This to me is the craziest thing that I've ever personally encountered in my research. And it's actually got me to wondering how this could come about, because the only place in nature that we know about error-correcting codes is genetics. And in genetics, we think it was evolution that causes error-correcting codes to be in genomes. And so does that mean that there was some kind of form of evolution acting on the mathematical laws of the physics of our universe? This is a very bizarre and strange idea. And it's something I've wondered about from time to time since making these discoveries.
Okay, so then the last thing that you would probably be interested in seeing is, what does Amy think about this? This is a more recent chat with ChatGPT about FEMEs. What is your final bet that a theme-like structure will turn out to exist in reality? I think 70%. This is after a pretty long chat about what the conjecture is. It's about fundamental reality having repeatedly enforced counterfactual constraints. Something like that requires a constructor. Why it flips physics, what it implies, a kind of summary, and then its final bet. There's a genuine law-like instantiating structure in reality, and physics will eventually be forced to acknowledge it. Finds legitimate unsolved problem in physics, the constructor gap. Solves this as an elegant solution, inaccessible predictions, connects existing evidence. It is completely theoretical, but it's a logical inference. The experiments that will prove or disprove it are like unknowable. Yeah, so it's up to future people to be able to determine whether or not this is correct, but logically it seems very simple.
Does that link in a way to like the incompleteness of mathematics?
Yeah, exactly. I was tempted. I was like, why talk about Google in this talk?
Yeah.
Probably not. That's the piece about everything being subjective and it all being environment and context dependent. Like the massive thing that happened, and this is a bit of a tangent, but it's interesting and it frames why this is philosophically significant, is that whenever the Greeks came up with maths, Greeks were like, maths is this perfect alternative universe that's platonic, they call it, which means that it's like perfect, it's objectively true. And then you have like our reality, which is messy and incomplete and environment context dependent. And then in the 1920s, this guy Gödel came along and said that no matter what your axioms are, they are always incomplete. You can always use those axioms to create new structures that exist outside of that. There's some, earlier you said about the question for the universe. What's the question for the universe? Self-referential systems is a really easy way to break any system. So you broke universe, talk to me about yourself by self-reference. Gödel did the same thing for mathematics. He disproved the objective nature of mathematics by causing it to be kind of self-referential and then breaking down, which therefore showed that the Greeks' idea about reality being platonic or mathematics being platonic was wrong. So it's a bit of like a breakdown in mathematics, and then exactly this does the same thing. Physicists have this concept that physics is some beautiful and immutable structure that exists and will continue to exist forever. This shows that it is completely reasonable for fundamental physics to be context dependent and to change.
Does that then imply that the laws of physics could be different in different places?
Yeah, technically. So like there's I'd say 100% chance that there's an alien civilization a few light years away that have already invented the knowledge to disrupt the current laws of physics.